Back to the show, and welcome back our guests John and Roy. Are you guys there?
Yes, I am.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, look, that was a really beautiful song, and I just wanted to point out that Roy sent me a list of songs, and yeah, there's a lot of people thinking about Schapelle. A lot of people, creative artists, aware of this issue. A lot of people around the world. There's groups who've investigated this, and I was actually contacted, believe it or not, I was contacted earlier this year, totally independently, by some people in the UK who found truthnews.com.au and wanted me to do this, and I'm sure they'll be pleased to hear that we've actually done a show on it. Now, look, can we get into the question of the kind of the media smear campaign that was that popped up around Schapelle Corby's family and Mercedes Corby, because I think that has had a big effect on what people think. But I do know that, and I don't know the details of it, I haven't really studied up on it, but I do know that there was a defamation case, and that Mercedes Corby won the defamation case. But can you just elaborate it and explain the whole thing for us, Roy?
Well, yes, basically it was all to do with Today Tonight segment, I think back in February 2007, where Mercedes' ex-friend Jodie Powers got on the Today Tonight show and made a lot of allegations about about Mercedes and about the Corby family in general, all of which were defamatory.
Okay. What kind of claims were made? And I mean, we just briefly just want to explain what claims were made. I mean, this was to do with drug dealing or something like that, was it? Well,
she basically claimed that that the Corbys had been involved with drugs for a long time. That they had space bags of marijuana sitting around in the lounge room. She'd been asked by Mercedes if she would take marijuana to Bali.
These are extraordinary allegations. I mean,
yeah.
these are totally, in terms of the court of public opinion, I mean,
yes.
that's just devastating, and you can't underestimate how what an effect that has. It's just absolutely devastating.
He said that Schapelle's mother was flying around Australia with bags of marijuana. She said that they had a customs officer in their employ at Nurai Airport in Bali. Basically, she was making them out to be one of the biggest drug families in Australia.
Now, and subsequently, Mercedes Corby... Yep, sorry.
She did also say that she feared for her life having done the interviews, thereby implying that the Corbys would get a hitman to have a go at her.
Now,
can I just jump in there just while we're on this point? But it's not, they're not a perfect family, are they, Roy? Like in some ways, the family's been used against us because they're a working class family that's had a few run-ins here and there with the law, like some of her half brothers. She doesn't have the perfect background, and this is one of the things that makes me even more sad for Schapelle, is that she hasn't had the perfect life. And
but I just want to clarify, John. I've got from Roy a set of scans of police record, and Roy has previously claimed that there is no one in her direct family who has any criminal. Although, correct me if I'm wrong, Roy, but
her father has a history.
No, that's not true, John. Her father was caught at a party back in the 70s where a small amount of marijuana was found, I think about 2 grams.
2 grams, yeah.
And he happened to have a broken leg at the time, and when everyone else scattered, he was unable to get away, and was basically charged with possession or being at a place where marijuana was present, for which he received a $400 fine, but no conviction was ever recorded against his name.
Well, there you go. Well, that clears that up. But I just knew there was something.
Well, that's extraordinary. So that's it. So there's nothing.
That's nothing.
Okay.
There's nothing related to the actual Corby family themselves. Of course, there is Schapelle's half brothers. Clinton Rose does have a bit of a checkered past, but none of his crimes include drugs or drug trafficking or the drug trade as such. The only person that's ever really been charged with a drug crime was young James, who who did a break and enter one night. He felt that in this particular house there were known to be drug dealers, and he felt that maybe if he grabbed a sample of the drugs, he may be able to help his sister in Bali. It was a stupid act that he did while he'd had too many drinks, and that was his only brush with the law.
So this is Schapelle's younger brother.
Yeah, the brother who travelled with her to Bali, James. Yes.
So he did a break and enter after Schapelle was arrested.
Well after, yes.
And he was convicted of that.
Yes, he was.
So,
yes.
so is this her half brother or her full brother? So I'm just getting confused with her.
A half brother.
Oh, okay, so that's her. Is he the son of the father who we've been talking about, or is he the son of?
Well, no, he's a son of one of Rosalie's other partners. She's had children by three men.
I see.
But that's her business, basically. The actual Corbys themselves, Mercedes, Michael, and Schapelle were all fathered by Michael Corby Senior, and then Clinton was one on his own, and then there was young James and Mellyanne, who were fathered by someone else.
Right, okay. Look, I just want to get back to these claims of Jodie Powers, because I just find this absolutely incredible. Because when I see this level of defamation going on, I become very suspect about it, because, I mean, there's usually a motive.
AFP. AFP are involved, mate. That's what makes me wonder.
Well, okay, yeah. How does you think the AFP is connected, John?
Well, they just always seem to be doing these political deals with the people in Indonesia. Just going to talk to people about the Bali bombing and other things that have happened up there. They don't work. They don't work nice, and they work behind closed doors. These people, and you see these sorts of fix set in. Like when I heard what Roy was saying, looked into it a bit more deeply. It just seems like there's some sort of fix in. Like does that seem like to you, Roy? There's a fix in there?
Well, I think the most significant thing about the whole Jodie Powers claim on national TV is the fact that had even a fraction of what she said been true, you would have expected that the police would have been round to the Corbys household almost straight away.
Absolutely.
To run sweeps, to run, you can obviously run cloths or whatever it is over surfaces and detect THC. They would have been looking at the garden to see if there was any evidence of marijuana plants having been planted in the garden. And I believe you can test soil samples up to 3 years down the track and determine whether marijuana plants have been grown in the ground. As I say, you would have expected at least a few policemen to come round to the house to check out to see if these claims were true, but in the end, not a single policeman ever turned up there. And so, obviously, the police didn't believe Jodie Power's claims, or they were being very derelict in their duty.
And she immediately launched a civil lawsuit against Channel 7, correct?
Well, she not immediately, but fairly soon afterwards. Yes, she did. Her and her mother.
Okay, and did it actually go to court, or did they settle before it went to court?
Well, no, Mercedes' defamation case did go to court, and she won convincingly. And Rosalie was going to sue them after Mercedes had finished, but having lost the case to Mercedes, they decided there was not much point in contesting the case against Rosalie, and they just settled out of court with her.
So because it went to court, it's public information what was said in court and what the information came out. Can you summarise what the outcome of that court case was? I mean, obviously, this girl was lying, right?
Yes, obviously she was lying. I mean, Channel 7, I understand, hired a private investigator to investigate the Corbys while they were preparing their case for the defence, because they were basically the defendants.
Yes.
And I think they paid him somewhere in the region of $800,000 or $900,000 to dig up anything and everything he could possibly find on the Corby family. And the best he was able to come up with was a few photographs of Mercedes smoking bongs in her teens, and a few letters that he sent to Jodie when she was also young and stupid, talking about drugs.
Yes, we've all seen the photograph of Mercedes Corby sucking on a pipe. Everyone in Australia has seen that.
Yes.
And this is what I was pointing at.
We've all been exposed to that.
Working class family. These sorts of things are normal in average working class families in Australia, aren't they?
Oh, not just working class. Everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just trying to give an example of to take a photo. Well, anyway, it's just it's just seen as not really unusual behaviour, is it?
Well, I think that most of the people in that generation, and probably even in current generation, all experiment with marijuana, and so there's nothing unusual about it. Even